Wow, these cast iron skillets are in rough shape. Hey, Cave Picker here. I just wanted to go over a few finds that I had over the past couple weeks with some iron skillets. They're in pretty rough shape, you can tell. I mean, this one here has a lot of rust on it. Even the backside's looking pretty rough. This little one here, quite a bit of rust on there. This one here, probably not as much rust. Maybe just needs to be washed and cleaned up a little bit. This one here, probably just a good washing. And also this one too, it's just all caked with dirt and dust. This one's got a little rust. Maybe we can do some work on that. So I'm going to take you through what I do to restore these, because I sell these at the flea market. And these ones here I actually got for really cheap. I got them, I paid about $1 a piece for these, just because they were in a pile and the person that had them didn't want them anymore. They were just a mess and they decided to get rid of them. So I was able to pick them up for pretty cheap. So now I'm going to put some elbow grease in. I'll show you what I do, and we will restore them back to working condition. Stay tuned. Okay, so for some of those rough pans, what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to use one of these wire brushes. I just put this in the drill. It has an end here to put it in the drill, and I'll just use that to get rid of a lot of the rust and get that rust off of those pans and that corrosion and stuff. This one here I got on Amazon. There's a link down in the description where you can get one too. And I'm just going to put this in the drill and we'll get started. Okay, so I'll just put it in here just like that. Make sure it's nice and tight. And then we'll get started on one of the pans. Let's take this first one, this one here that's pretty rough, and we'll get started on this one. So kind of makes a little bit of a mess. It's a little hard to do. You gotta take your time a little bit on it. Make sure you get each piece of it. Okay, get this inner edge here. Really isn't taking very much time. This little brush and the drill is really doing most of the work here. Okay, got a lot of that bottom done. Let's try to get the edge. Actually, with the back side of this one, you see all this around here? This is really hard, caked on grime and grit. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to give this a try. I can pick it off a little bit with my hands, but I tried the wire brush on it. It really didn't do very well with it. You can see it kind of in here. It's very scaly, very hard. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to try this other wheel that I have. This is a strip disc. Goes in my angle grinder, and I use this to strip off different items, some metal stuff. You know, you can take paint off of things. A lot of times I'll use these on old milk cans. It does a great job taking off the paint on the outside of a milk can. And getting all that grime off of there. These are, I purchased these online. I'll put a description of what they are down below. They're Black Hawk strip discs. These are 4.5-inch ones. This one is color blue. I bought a box of 5 of them. I'll put some more information down below. But let me get this hooked up to my drill, or to my angle grinder, and we'll get started. Okay, so I have my pan down here on my workbench. I have a clamp on it, clamped it down, so this way at least it won't go anywhere. And I did put my strip disc on my angle grinder, and we'll get started. Oh, and I also put on my safety goggles. Should have had these on earlier, but definitely with this, you want to have them. So as you can see, it took that grime right off of there, no problem. That strip disc really did a number on it. It looks really good. We'll get that back once we season this. We're gonna season this after we get it all cleaned up. So let's keep going. We'll get this other edge done, and around this part here, and we should be pretty good to go. Okay, so we got the outside all done. It's looking pretty good. Got most of that stuff off. We'll take some of that other stuff off with some, we can use a little bit of steel wool on there. I might use a little bit of that wire brush again, but for the most part, we got everything pretty much off of there. It's looking really good. Now I'm gonna take a little bit more of the wire brush and get some of the insides here too, right around this edge. So let me get going. Okay, so we got finished up with the wire stripper. We got everything cleaned up. It's looking really good here. You can see a lot of that rust is gone. I mean, if you remember, this was all caked on with a lot of black chipped on, it was just really, really nasty. And inside here was a lot of rust and stuff, and it's pretty much all gone. So what we'll do is we'll get started on seasoning this one. Okay, just finished this second one up. This was one of those ones that was pretty rusted too. So I think we'll take these two and we'll bring them inside and we'll season them up. Okay, so we're inside now. I did wash these off, the pans that I did just now, the ones that I scrubbed down. I just took some water. You could use a little soap, but I just made sure I washed them out pretty good. And now we're gonna season the skillets. So I have 3 here that you can see. This one here actually was one I had been working on. I have about, this is seasoned twice now. We're gonna season all 3 of these at the same time because it's much easier to do a bunch at a time than to do one at a time, because this is a little bit time consuming. Not that we need to spend a lot of time doing it, but each time we season it one time, it takes about an hour in the oven. So what I've done here is I've preheated the oven. It's preheating right now. It's preheating to 350 degrees. And basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these pans and I'm gonna cover them in flaxseed oil. So this right here is the flaxseed oil I use. I got this on Amazon. There's a link in the description for where I got it. Not an affiliate link or anything like that, just some links of some of the supplies I use. So I use this flaxseed oil, and basically what I do is I take some paper towels and I put the flaxseed oil on it, and then I rub them down. So why don't we go ahead and do that while our oven's preheating. Let me get some, so don't make too much of a mess on the stove top. I'm gonna put a little bit of paper towels down. This does help some, just because I'm gonna be resting these on here once I coat them. So let me put these on here because we do have a little bit of time for that to preheat. So we got those ready. We have all three. And let me get a paper towel here to coat them with. So basically just take a little bit of this flaxseed. We're gonna have to do both sides. You don't want too much because it's really, we're just gonna be putting a coating on them. So you just rub it around in here. Make sure you get it, all the parts to it. Really coat it up, because this is what's gonna really season it good, is this flaxseed oil. So make sure we get the handle. Probably should have done the handle after I did the other side. I need a little bit more on my paper towel. Coat this really good. Rub it in there. Okay, got it on there really good. Make sure we get the other side of the handle, and we'll take the next one. And we'll do the same thing. We'll rub the oil in there, get all parts of it all oiled up. The outside, make sure we coat it really well. Okay, and we're gonna make sure we get the handle all over there, and then we'll do this one here. So make sure we coat it, put that on there, get a little bit more flaxseed. Whoa, a little too much flaxseed oil. That's okay, get that on there. I'd rather do a bunch of coats instead of using too much. That's just how I like to do it. Okay, so we have that all on there. Now let me show you what I do in the oven, because this stuff, it's gonna drip off of there. So inside the oven, what I do, and you can see I just did a bunch of them. I don't know if you can see that very well, but I have a pan in here on the second shelf here to catch any drippings. You can use foil. Some put foil underneath, that kind of thing. I like to just put a pan under there. It makes it just easier, especially clean. I mean, with the foil, I could just throw it away, but with the pan, I know it's gonna catch everything. Nothing's gonna drip off the edge or anything along those lines. So what we're gonna do is, like I said, we're preheating the oven to 350 degrees. I'm gonna put these pans inside the oven, and we're gonna bake them for 1 hour. So why don't we do that? And as you can see, I have them all in there. I hope you can see that. I know it's dark in there. The pans don't show up great. But anyway, they're in there. And we're gonna start the timer for 1 hour. And we'll give it a little bit longer just because it's not quite preheated yet. So we'll do an hour and 5 minutes or so. Should be plenty good. And we'll start that. And so I got it set for an hour and 5 minutes, and we'll be back in about an hour. Okay, while those skillets are baking in the oven and seasoning, I wanted to show you this pan here. This is actually my grandmother's. When she was alive, this is the frying pan that she always used. I remember her making, she would fry butterflies. They call them pinwheels or butterflies in here. She'd fill this with lard and fry these cookies in here. She'd also fry, you know, a bunch of shrimp. I remember her frying in here, and a bunch of different things. But this was always the pan that she used. And then when she passed away, my father had this pan, and when he passed away, I have the pan now, and I love this pan. I use it every day. This is like my go-to pan for anything. I just love it because it cooks food so nicely. I just use it all the time. I just absolutely love it. And what's really cool about this skillet is on the back you can see it's a Griswold. You can see the logo on it. It's a Griswold, made in USA. So it's definitely, it was my grandmother's, but one she bought later on, because it says made in the USA on it, and that was a requirement after the 60s. So it's about, you know, maybe a 45, 50-year-old pan, but it's just a cool pan. I just remember her using a lot, so I thought I would share that. Okay, well, we'll be back after those are done baking. Okay, we're just about done here, and there's the timer for 1 hour. I'll turn that off, and we will take these out of the oven, and we'll see how they came out so far. Their first seasoning. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, I put this pan down on top of the oven, on top of the stove here, so this way the oil and the heat, the oil of it won't get all over that. There's another coat on that pan, if you remember, that had a couple coats on it already. And here's the other one. So looks like it's got some, they got some seasoning on them. Okay, so what we're gonna let them do is we're gonna let them cool for a little while before we put our next coat of flaxseed oil on them again, and we'll put them back in the oven for another hour. So let's give them a little bit of time to cool, and we'll be back. Okay, and that was about 15 minutes there to let them cool down. So now we're gonna put another coat on these. So let's get a little more. Okay, looks like we're done with the next round. We'll take them out and see how they look. Oh yeah, look at that. Getting much better, much more seasoned. Take those out. They're getting there. It's going to take a couple more probably, but we'll let them cool. Okay, so that just finished up the cooling part. So we're going to give it another coat. So we'll put a little bit. Okay, we're just about ready here. We're on the third one, so let's cancel that. Let's take these out. Look at that. Looking good. Looking very, very good. Nice and seasoned. And there it is. And there you have it. We took 3 pans, took them from rusty, cleaned them all up, added some flaxseed oil, had 3 seasonings with them, and they're looking pretty good, and I think they're ready to sell. I could probably get at least $15 a piece for these. These are great utilitarian pieces, especially now it's hard to get things like this, so it's really important that these are recycled and reused, and people will have a good time using them. So thanks for tuning in. If you liked what you saw here, please like this video. If you want to see more things like this of buying and reselling and buying things, making them better and reselling, please subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.